So a lot of it came from the idea that I was designing and branding and marketing restaurants prior to opening La Maya.
Yeah.
I had a really good understanding of what restaurants should be, what restaurants should look like, and really what I enjoy, right? Not to say my style, aesthetic, concept is better than anybody else's. All restaurants are different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was the idea that I've done so many restaurants, I've done so many menus, I've done so many brands and marketing and all that. And so I was like, all right, let's put yourself to the test. It was always a dream to open up a restaurant of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up doing it, and boy, it's been hard, but it's been exciting and fun,
Yeah.
you know? So I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, you really have to love this industry to jump into it. I do. We're still having fun every day. Yeah. There's, arguments here and there behind the scenes, but it's always the best interest of the restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can we do better, right? There's never any question of, oh, we're making mistakes on purpose or somebody's screwing us. It's like, no, like, let's all put our heads together and try to find the common ground of what's the best experience, what's the best product we can put out possible. And when you have those people around you, it makes it easy to jump in.
Welcome to YMI Talking, a podcast where the guests are so good, you'll wonder why the host is even talking. In each episode, you will hear one of the leaders of the Lehigh Valley's vibrant business hub. They will tell you the keys to their success, the mistakes they've made, and what they have in store for the future. Here is the host of YMI Talking, from YMI Insurance, Jimmy Honachik.
All right. This is an episode I could not be more excited about. If you know me, you know that I like to eat really good food and I like to drink really good spirits. And I get both of them here. So CJ Moyer from La Maya, from Presleys, from Moyer Design Brand Consulting. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So like I kind of mentioned there, you do a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things. I mean, we'll get into it, but they all kind of piggybacked off of each other at one point in time, and now they're grown into their own little beasts. So,
all right. So then let's figure out how CJ Moyer got here.
Sure. So, Well, I grew up working in the food and beverage industry, fell in love with it, fell in love with the community, fell in love with the scene. It felt right. It felt like a good place to be, is just working in food and beverage. I've just loved, that was always my favorite thing, is whether I'm meeting with my family, having dinner at my parents' house, going out to dinner. It was more of a hobby for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was more of an excitement. And so I fell in love with the industry. I went to Kutztown University, was a graphic design major, was doing restaurant projects. So it's just what I fell in love with, was packaging, label design, et cetera. And so, through college, worked in food and bev, and then out of college started Moyer Design Company.
Out of college?
Not right out of college.
Okay.
I worked for a mountain sports company in Salt Lake City, Utah for 2 years, and then came back to Bethlehem, worked at Cigars International for a 6-month stint.
Okay.
Realized that I didn't do well working for other people. I don't know if it was an ego thing where I just felt like I had better, craftier ideas. And then the other thing that I always kind of told myself was, if there's somebody who's going to put money in your pocket, it's going to be yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So why look to the owner of a company to put money in your pocket and ask for raises every year, or try to just do it yourself. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had that mentality, right? Not a lot of people do. And so I was confident in going out on my own. And so I started Moyer Design Company in 2018. Which was 2 years after college, and grew that business by starting with a company called Shoe Fly Imports. So I was doing a lot of wine labels from importing from Bolivia, which was neat. And that's what got me introduced in there. I did the Colony Meadery rebrand. I did all of their rebrand of their labels. And so worked on a few big projects in the intro to my career. And then, that's where it all got started.
Were you nervous at all? I mean, you're 2 years out of school, and you've had, some jobs, but now you're bringing it all in yourself, or you're not bringing anything in. To me, that's a scary proposition.
Yes and no. Like I said, it was confidence, right? It was having that confidence to be all right, I'm going to go out on my own and do this, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you start to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and being nervous, like going and knocking on doors and saying, hey, listen, I'm a graphic designer. I can help you with your menu design. I can help you with, whatever packaging you're doing. Do you need a brand update, et cetera, and just getting your name out there. I was always good at doing that. I was always good at just meeting people and chatting it through. So there were like a little bit of nerves, but again, I was confident. And, truth be told, at Cigars International, I was making $36,000 a year.
Yeah.
And so when I started my business, I was working on my business from say 9 to 5, 9 to 4 o'clock. And then I was going and bartending at local restaurants around the area. Mm-hmm. And I was pulling $1,000 a week.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm making more money bartending than I am at my professional career. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Let me just do this on my own during the days, build my business, work at bars at night for, rent and all that stuff. And then once it takes off, I'll drop the bartending stuff. And I was able to let go of bartending probably 6 months to a year into opening my business. Yeah.
And what was the key to your success there? I mean, like you said, you weren't afraid to knock on doors. Was it cold calling? Like, how did you grow that client base to start? Cold
calling, emailing, knowing the right people. The biggest thing I tell people, even within marketing, is like, let people know what you're doing. Right. Like, one of the reasons why I'm here today, let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about what you're doing. Let people know on social media what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, don't be shy to promote your wins. Don't be shy to promote what you have going on. Hey, we have this cool new thing coming up. Hey, I'm jumping out on my own to do this. There's so many people in your network that even if they just know you, they could be looking for you, right? Mm-hmm. And then they see you pop up, and next thing you know, you have a small little retainer contract that could help propel your business. So that's where it all started.
Yeah. And so then Moyer Design brand, what's your clientele? What are you looking for when you're approaching this?
Yeah, so we primarily do food and beverage. Before we were talking, we do have Alpha Funding, which is a hard money lending company. So I do real estate. I will jump into other sectors of businesses if they're looking for somebody like me. But now with the restaurants and the bar and so forth, I'm really primarily looking for food and beverage industry clients. And so what I'm looking to do is consult for those companies now and essentially help them get to where they need to be, where they're generating revenue in their restaurant through a lot of their marketing, through their branding, through their experience in general, and helping businesses kind of level up in that game.
And we've had a lot of restaurants on here, and I think that's something that I don't appreciate coming into it. I'm like, oh, you make good food, it's going to sell itself, but that's not how it works.
No, there's a whole, it runs just like any other business, right? Yeah. Like, every little detail counts. And even to that point, like, there's more than just the little odds and end details. The restaurant industry, there's so many small things that you need to be aware of that could make or break an experience. And it even starts with the first click of a reservation. It starts with like the first experience that person's having by jumping into your restaurant.
Yeah.
So,
and I was having this conversation where, you get one chance almost, right? Like, someone comes to La Maya for the first time. If they didn't have a good experience for whatever reason, they might not come back. And so every experience is important, really, and making sure it's maximized.
So that's the, another thing that I've had to learn with being a business owner in the restaurant industry, right, is like, you're never going to win everybody over, right? You can, if you're hitting 95%, you're doing great, right? And so we do the best we can for those customers who do potentially get upset. We'll talk to them. We'll, offer them, like, I'll do whatever I can. I'm not going to sit there and like kiss your feet, but I'm going to say, hey, we messed up. We're human. I got you. What do you need to make this experience better for you right now?
Yeah.
If there's nothing I can do for you right now, come back another time, please. And I'll do whatever I can. I'll give you a free meal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, just come reintroduce yourself to my experience. And luckily I haven't had to do that much. Maybe once. So,
but let's talk about that. I think you having, a restaurant gives a lot of credibility to what Moyer Design is doing, in the fact that there's a lot of marketing businesses out there, and I see, the brands that they come up with or that they're working with, and it's okay. if anyone has looked at La Maya in any way, they will know the proof's in the pudding there. And if that's what you guys are capable of, I mean, it's almost a no-brainer. You guys do such good work.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's really focusing in on the team and the people you have around you and using your resources wisely. Don't think you can do everything yourself, right? There's people who are better than you at every kind of aspect of your business. Find their strong suits and put them in the places that they need to be. That's what owning a business is through and through. Finding your key players, building your roster, and understanding what people are good at and what people aren't good at, and putting your people where they need to be, right? So for instance, I come from a design background. I did all of our branding. I still do all of our marketing, right? Like, all that's taken care of. I'm good at that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now it comes to interior design. I understand interior design. I think I'm good at it. I like to think that I could have done all of that on my own, but I couldn't have.
Right.
And so I introduced my friends, Gabrielle and April Wilson, a mother-daughter duo who have been inspiring me through their interior design, and even their landscaping design my whole life. Right. I grew up with them. They're phenomenal people. And so bringing them in and saying, hey, have you guys ever designed a restaurant? No, we haven't, but we'd love to.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You're pumped on the project. I'm pumped to have you in. Let's jump into this together and let's build this beautiful thing that people can feel welcome to. Hey, here's the experience I want people to have when they walk in the place. Here's the color kind of palette that I think I want to see. You start to give them all these ideas and start to talk about your menu, your cuisine. They just get it, right? Like they understand the experience just as much as you do because they want to feel the same way walking into those doors as you want to feel. And if you have that mentality and find people with that same mentality, you just build a dream team and you build something as beautiful as La Maya is.
And La Maya, all right. Again, I am scared. I'm in your career and I'm scared because you've created a successful, branding consulting business. And now you're like, let's do it ourselves. Let's start a restaurant. How do you get the confidence to go ahead and launch it?
Yeah. So a lot of it came from the idea that I was designing and branding and marketing restaurants prior to opening La Maya.
Yeah.
I had a really good understanding of what restaurants should be, what restaurants should look like, and really what I enjoy, right? Not to say my style, aesthetic, concept is better than anybody else's. All restaurants are different, right? So it was the idea that I've done so many restaurants, I've done so many menus, I've done so many brands and marketing and all that. And so I was like, all right, let's put yourself to the test. It was always a dream to open up a restaurant of mine. And so I ended up doing it. And boy, it's been hard, but it's been exciting and fun, So I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, you really have to love this industry to jump into it. I do. We're still having fun every day. Yeah. There's, arguments here and there behind the scenes, but it's always the best interest of the restaurant, right? How can we do better, right? There's never any question of, oh, we're making mistakes on purpose or somebody's screwing it. It's like, no, let's all put our heads together and try to find the common ground of what's the best experience, what's the best product we can put out possible. And when you have those people around you, it makes it easy to jump in.
And that's something you keep coming back to is having the right people. You do have partners at La Maya, right?
Yeah.
What do they bring to the table?
Yeah. So my business partner is Rogelio Romero. He started Lou Taqueria, and him and I met at Tapas on Main. So he's been in the restaurant industry for years now, managing, bartending. He does, essentially everything. So he's kind of brought that, his experience, 20 plus years of experience to opening with myself. And so that's what he brings to the table is his experience, his operational experience. He's kind of the guy who just gets stuff done on site.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so you're from the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah. Originally from Lehigh Valley. Yep.
What have you seen, in terms of growth or in terms of just changes in the Lehigh Valley, especially when it comes to the restaurant scene?
I think we're starting to see more change happen now than we've ever seen before. Maybe that's wrong to say. I think there was kind of a little bit of a boom when Southside Bethlehem started to get built up. So you start to see some new concepts, some new cuisines start to come in. I think now, hopefully, we're seeing a lot more metropolitan influences, which I'm excited about, right? We're taking some influence from Philadelphia, which is what we did with Mayo and Presleys. We're starting to see people come up with new concepts, starting to be more creative with their cocktail programs. So I think there's just been a big boom in general in the restaurant scene, right?
Yeah.
Like you see restaurants, bars, wineries, distilleries popping up everywhere now.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
Yeah. And one of those, Presleys, talk to us about that. I mean, that's such a cool concept. I want you to give the audience a little idea of what it is.
Sure. In a nutshell, Presley's mobile cocktail bar started with myself and my business partner on that end, Ryan Moran. His daughter's name is Presley, and I'm her godfather. So that's where the name came from.
Okay.
Anyway, it was a mobile cocktail bar. It was kind of my introduction into, okay, do you want to do a restaurant one day?
Yeah.
Like, let's see if you can do this and handle this. And then if this goes well, maybe you'll open up a restaurant one day.
Mm-hmm.
And so Presley's was doing phenomenally well. The first couple of years of business, everything was cool. And then Rogelio came to me and said, oh, do you want to open up a restaurant with me? When I came back from Philadelphia and now reside in Bethlehem, him and I got back together, started having beers together again. And he said, what do you think about this location? And at first we were going to do kind of like a taco shop Presley's collab where I was going to run the bar. He was going to run the food. And we were just going to do like a kind of a collaborative location.
Yeah.
And so then we started just kind of going down the rabbit hole. And I'm like, okay, if we're going to open up a restaurant, we're going to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how like Mayo was kind of fully born. Then being in Mayo and having all the connections we have, we got linked with Cellar Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Cellar Beast wanted a change in concept on their location in Easton. And then they came to us and said, hey, what do you think about, kind of reworking our concept? We'll partner with you on the liquor license stuff. And so it was a match made in heaven. I talked to them about Presleys, telling them that we already have such a strong following. We had 4,500 followers on just the mobile bar business.
Yeah.
Because we started in Philadelphia, brought it to the Lehigh Valley. So we kind of covered this big region. And then when people saw our first brick and mortar go up, which was the Cellar Beast location, everybody was super hyped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has it been so far there?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, it was really turnkey. We got in there within 30 days of Cellar Beast handing us the keys. I was in there till 2 a.m. painting walls, hanging pictures, finding all this stuff from Facebook Marketplace, Barstools, all that, being very scrappy. And that's what I, want to go back to on the Moyer Design side as well, is it's the idea that you can do a lot of really cool stuff, low budget.
Yeah.
People just don't want to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, if you're struggling with your restaurant, if you're struggling with your bar, let me help you kind of reconcept and redrive business and revenue to your location.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars, right? You could spend have a $10,000 budget and we could really turn your place around. So that's what we did, right? We took a small budget, we flipped the interior of the space, made it dark, made it super cozy, warm, almost kind of, a lot of people have been saying speakeasy feel, and then worked with, again, back to the team stuff, Gene Dalla was the bartender at Mayo, completely flipped our beverage program at Mayo.
Wow.
I was obsessed with all the drinks and cocktails he was pushing. Really saw just how much passion this dude had in kind of the food and bev scene.
Yeah.
And his goal was just to he's just comfortable being a bartender, but he always wanted to grow and he always wanted that creative freedom. And so I was like, all right, he did wonders at Mayo.
Yeah.
So I brought him in and partnered with him on Presley's in Easton.
Okay.
So he's now my business partner. So it all goes back to this team, right?
Yeah.
So now myself and Gene, where I have the concept, I can do the branding, the marketing, push the business, understand the business. You take care of the beverage program, and let's just make this thing the most badass thing that people have seen in a while.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of Presley's in a nutshell story. Yeah.
That's awesome. Going back to, his work at Mayo, you guys make your own tequila there, right?
We do. So Mayo is with County Seat Spirits.
Okay. Yeah.
Anthony Brickta, owns County Seat. And then John Chevlon is the distiller over there.
Yep.
And so it's funny. The Hallertown location we were at, Anthony lives near Hellertown and I guess does kind of this like big bike lap or whatever. And so he noted to the owner of our location at La Maya that whoever's interested in this location, let them know we'd be interested in potentially talking to them to tie a flagship location with, like where we could sell county seat spirits out of this location. And so we're kind of like, okay, well, this is like, now we got our alcohol covered, right? Yeah. We don't have to spend $450,000 on a liquor license. Like we can work with county seat spirits. And so the relationship with Anthony has been great so far, and county seat has been great. And so they didn't have a tequila on their line of spirits. So we said, okay, that's an issue. We're Mexican. We absolutely need tequila. So we worked with John and we worked with Anthony on working with some exporters in Mexico to ship us up agave, but also tequila. We have to call it an agave spirit because it's not produced in Mexico. It's produced in Pennsylvania, right? Which so we got a bunch of juice up. We tested it a bunch. They ran it through a distillation filtering process. And then we maybe went through like 15 rounds of tastings of just like different products. And finally we landed on one that John did a really great job on, which is our La Maya Blanco. And the amount of tequila that we run through is insane. So we have a La Maya Blanco with county seat, and we have a Reposado with county seat right now. That's what you can buy in our place right now. Okay. Hopefully, fingers crossed, by the end of next week or when this comes out, actually, we'll have a mezcal on our line.
Nice.
And then probably towards the end of May, we will have an añejo on our line.
Oh, man.
So, so we found this like really great partnership and relationship with these guys, and we've been killing it. I mean, people in Philadelphia are reaching out to us through the restaurant, asking us for bottles. So we're starting to really make a name for ourselves, which is really cool.
What I'm hearing a lot of is, whether it's Anthony Brichta or John or the Cellar Beast, is this sort of collaboration. Do you find it is the restaurant industry? Is it the Lehigh Valley? Is it you? Like, what's the genesis of this collaboration?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's all of us. I mean, I think everybody's looking for new opportunities in business in general, right? And you just want to get in bed with the right people. I know that I couldn't do all of this alone. Yeah. So why try? Why don't I just partner with and build really good relationships with these folks who are better at what they do than I, you know what I mean? Like, I have the sauce on one area, you have the sauce in another area. Let's put our heads together and let's do business together, right? Like, it's just the fundamentals of business. It's getting back to understanding what a relationship truly means with somebody who you're working with, right? Break bread with them, have dinner with them, talk about what your common interests are. Talk about what you want for your business and their business in this journey, and let's push it together, right? So it all goes back to just being very open to working with people. I mean, sure, like if you want to do it all by yourself, do it all by yourself. But I know personally I can't. Yeah, I'm stretched too thin. I'm good at what I do. These folks are good at what they do. Yeah.
So what's next for? If you're even thinking about it, I feel like you have so many balls in the air that you're juggling very well. But when you think about Moyer Design Company, that seems to be sort of the engine of all of this. Yeah. What do you see as next for that?
So Moyer Design Company, I want to get it into more consulting. I want to help restaurants rebuild, regrow. And a lot of that is really helping the little guys kind of take their concept from a place where it's not generating the revenue that they needed to, and helping them build it and grow it and scale it to a really good kind of place they need to be, right? Like people butts in seats every weekend, butts in seats every day. Helping them understand that your restaurant isn't all just about sending food out the door and hopefully the food's good or takeout, right? It's about the first walk-in, the first time the customer opens the door and walks into your place. What do they feel? What do they see? Right? Like, there's so many elements to that where I feel as though that like now I can say, all right, I have a successful restaurant. I have a successful bar. I have a successful mobile bar. People still want to do more with me on that end, but that's like, okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit. But how can I help these guys come in and consult for them? And even help them push their brand through, whether it's a new brand identity, whether it's new marketing, whether it's just me coming out and saying, hey, I'm working with, Joe Schmoes down the street, come experience this. Let's try to like almost like a John Taffer, but not as hardcore. Like just
like a nice John Taffer.
Yeah, just helping people. And then, obviously wanting to jump into new concepts as well, right? Like if somebody has a new space that they're building out, I'd love to jump in on their design team and part of their consulting team and just help them get through the steps of opening a restaurant, right? Like what are the rights and wrongs? I wish I had that. Nobody told me. I mean, we not slipped up, but like there was so many different times where I wish I knew what the hell I was doing or what, and I called a lot of people and they had good answers, but it was like, man, there was a lot of frustrations in the opening process.
Yeah.
And I'm happy I went through it. But the restaurant at La Maya, the opening of that was completely different from the restaurant or the bar opening at Presley's.
Right.
And I would do Presley's 20 times over again. And La Maya, maybe one more time in my life if I have it.
But it kind of gives you the tools to look at different unique situations and see what they call for, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So like through the Moyer Design Co stuff, like I want to be there for creative strategy, right? And I know that's hard to sell as a service, but let me help you generate revenue and let's see the outcome of this new success story, right? I've done it with, right? Like Cellar Beast came to us and said, hey, we want to flip the concept. Yeah. We flipped the concept and I mean, we outgrew the space already. Wow. Like it's ridiculous. Like I had to hire a bouncer the second week we opened.
Wow.
Cause it just got so packed. Yeah. I mean, we call it an upscale dive bar. Like it's a small little, like just cocktail lounge type deal. Mm-hmm. We probably have 40 seats in there. And we were 2 rows back.
So what's the secret? Because you're right. I think from, a restaurant profitability point of view, butts in the seat is kind of number one. You've got high fixed costs. And so you got to get as many people in. Yeah. How are you getting them all in?
It's a million things. It's a lot of things.
Just give me the answer.
Yeah. So the biggest thing, right, is like, it's telling people what you're doing.
Right.
Tell people what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't go through a renovation process for 6 months and not let people know what the hell you're doing. Mm-hmm. Let people build the excitement, build the hype, right? Like, and then once it drops, it's like, boom. Mm-hmm. And you have to have your shit together when you're ready to launch. Yeah. You have to be dialed in. Give yourself 30 days before you can even open to train your staff and get your procedures and processes done. Yep. Do a soft opening with your family and friends for 3 nights and give out free food. Like figure out your processes first. So it's hype, it's processes in place, it's marketing strategy, build on that hype, get people excited, and don't stop getting people excited. I still do it today. Oh my God, you guys feel that warm weather? Like, come on in. Like, La Maya's patio is now up. Like, get excited about it, right?
I actually am very excited for that.
Yes, yeah. You know what I mean? So it's all about like it's all about how people feel. Yeah. You want to feel some type of way when you walk into my restaurant or even when you're looking at my social media. Oh shit, that patio does look nice.
It does.
I could do a good margarita. You know what I mean? I could have a nice margarita there on like after work on a Friday, Yes. Like, so, it's feeling, it's process, it's the hype, it's the launch, it's the atmosphere, it's the way things look, it's the way people speak to you. It's so many different elements. Yeah. And once you understand those elements, you'll be good.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So this is season 3 and we are sponsored by Z-Craft, who is a great, restaurant, caterer, cafe in the Lehigh Valley. And you can go there and get a nice cup of coffee. You can sip on it. But as you know, sometimes sip happens. Yeah. And sometimes things don't go the way you want them to. And so we do this little segment where we want to know a time where sip happened to CJ.
Yeah. So,
and was tequila involved?
Yeah, might be part of after the fact, right? Okay. So sip happened. I've never built a commercial kitchen in my life. Okay. And so with La Maya, that's one thing that pushed us back. And I remember, again, doing the marketing and stuff for this and continuously telling people like we had to push our opening date because our kitchen wasn't ready. So the hood system was the biggest issue for me. Yeah. And where SIP happened is the company who did our hood sent out a guy who was sent out a Chinese guy. I had my contractor there who was Mexican. I'm there who, I can speak Spanish, but like I can't speak Chinese, and my Mexican contractor couldn't speak English. So we're standing there trying to figure out what's wrong with our hood system.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to translate from English to Spanish to Chinese, and it was just like the biggest complete shit show. And I think that's where SIP happened. It was like I just kind of like lost my marbles on our kitchen, and I was like, that was probably the hardest problem I've ever had to deal with. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Now I know.
But that's a microcosm of the American dream right there.
Yes, that's a fact.
And look what comes out of it, Maya.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, I mean, it was a eye-opening experience, but also a great one, and still is a great one. So,
that's very good. Maya, I would be very remiss if I didn't bring up that as this episode airs, we are very close to Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. And
as a Mexican restaurant, I would expect that's sort of a big deal for you guys.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is going to be our first one, so we don't know what to expect. So we're doing kind of like a 3-day stint. We're still locking in our specials, but on Saturday, May 3rd, you can expect a live DJ and cocktail lounge from the hours of 10 p.m. till midnight. So we'll be celebrating that night there. It'll be kind of fun. And then the next morning, Sunday, is going to be jazz brunch. Nice. So we'll do some kind of more Cinco de Mayo type festivities. We'll decorate, and then actual Cinco de Mayo, we'll just do a bunch of really cool specials and have some fun there.
That's
so
awesome. We're
still in the plannings of our specials, and what we actually want to offer. I think we're just going to get bombarded regardless, just because being a Mexican restaurant on Cinco de Mayo. So we'll see what happens, but yeah.
But yes, if anyone is out there still looking for Cinco de Mayo plans, La Maya is the place to be.
Please come through. Yep. It'll be a good time.
So anything we didn't hit that we should have hit, anything you want to talk about that, this is sort of our last chance to hit it before we get out of here?
Yeah, just really excited to be a part of this community, really excited to be a part of the food and beverage industry. I feel as though that I'm very approachable. So if you have questions on what we're doing and how I could potentially help you build, I'm very collaborative. I'll tell if it doesn't make sense for us, but would love to jump in where I can. And I appreciate you guys for doing this. I think YMI, as far as marketing goes, and I was talking to these guys earlier about this. I think they're doing a great job with their marketing and the podcast and
for
bringing
an insurance
in.
Agency.
Yeah, for an insurance agency, pretty impressive.
I'll take it.
And bringing us in and bringing industry folks like myself in to try to just talk about our stories and shoot the shit. I think is really cool, and it definitely gets us talking about you guys and gets you guys, understanding our world as well.
Yeah,
so it's cool.
It's just selfish. I like to eat good food, so I just get people here who can talk about that.
I love it.
CJ, thank you so much. This was great. I really appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the YMI Talking Podcast. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more content from amazing personalities in the Valley, please subscribe, leave a rating, and drop us a quick review.